seek help and the stigma. On the news this evening, Rivers State government insists lawmakers' defection not before Supreme Court. FCT minister says Supreme Court has ended impunity in Rivers State. Appeal Court overturns 2015 sack of APC local government chairman in Rivers State. President Tinubu signs 2025 budget into law. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine president arrives US for talks on mineral deals. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Welcome back. The Rivers State government says it believes the determination of the main issue of defection of Martin Amaewhule and 26 other lawmakers of the Rivers State Assembly is not a matter before the Supreme Court. Commissioner for Information Joe Johnson, in a statement while reacting to the Supreme Court's ruling on the crisis rocking the State House of Assembly, said the defection of the lawmakers is still pending at the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt. He said the government will carefully evaluate the situation and determine the next steps to take in the best interests of Rivers State and its people.
We believe that the determination of the main issue of defection of the 27 lawmakers is a matter not before the Supreme Court, as it is pending at the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt. Since the issue of defection wasn't on the table before the learned justices, in their eyes, Amaewhule and the 26 others are still operating as lawmakers until that matter of defection comes before them. We assure you that we remain committed to upholding our mandate to protect the best interests and the rule of law in matters affecting our dear states.
Mr. Johnson urged Rivers people to remain calm, law-abiding, and go about their legitimate businesses as it seeks clarity on the judgment. He also assured that the state government remains committed to upholding the rule of law in all matters affecting the state.
We have taken note of reports in the media regarding the recent judgment of the Supreme Court concerning the funds of Rivers State and the administration of local government in the state. We are awaiting a detailed briefing on the implications of the judgment. We will carefully evaluate the situation, determine the next steps to take in the best interest of Rivers State and its people. Though we have not gotten the details, we enjoin Rivers people to remain calm, law-abiding, and go about our legitimate businesses as we seek clarity on the judgment.
Today, the Supreme Court said the local government election conducted on 5th October 2024 by the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIEC, is invalid. In a judgment delivered by Justice Jamilu Tukur, the court declared the election invalid for grossly violating the Electoral Act. Reading the judgment, Justice Tukur said the action of RISIEC is declared void for lack of substantial compliance to the Electoral Act and guidelines as the electoral body continued voter registration even after announcing an election date. The Supreme Court also affirmed the judgment of a federal high court that barred the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Accountant General of the Federation from releasing statutory monthly allocations to Rivers State. The Apex Court also ordered the Martin Amaewhule-led faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly and other elected members of the House to resume seating. Reacting to this, former Rivers State Governor and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says the Supreme Court ruling on the crisis rocking the Rivers State House of Assembly has ended impunity in the state. Speaking to newsmen shortly after the judgment, the minister hailed the judiciary for upholding the rule of law. He said the Rivers State Governor has no choice but to fully comply with the Supreme Court's verdict as it represents the final legal authority on the matter.
15 months, 16 months, this matter has been laid to rest. The only thing that can happen now is to anybody to appeal to God. The Supreme Court has made it very clear that you cannot have a democracy without a legislature. It is unheard of where anybody will say 3 people will constitute an assembly to make laws for the entire state. 3 people will screen commissioners, all kinds of things. A governor will go and bring down a house of legislature and will do as if nothing has happened. So for me, it is happiness for Rivers to die. This impunity must stop.
The FCT minister said all commissioners in Rivers State do not exist.
All those commissioners, his 3 members, they're all gone. They're not commissioners, but they never existed in the first place. I'm sure the so-called Attorney General will know that. Will not go and say he's Attorney General of the State again. He knows the consequences of saying that Attorney General. He knows that is gone. And I don't wish him that he should say he will not obey. First of all, how will he not obey the Supreme Court?
The FCT minister also took a swipe at the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed for supporting Governor Similai Fubara. In the same vein, a constitutional lawyer, Felix Biragbara, says a judgment of the Supreme Court invalidating the October 5 local government election in Rivers State may lead to constitutional crisis. Dr. Biragbara, a lecturer at the Department of Legal Studies, University of Port Harcourt, said this in an interview with correspondent Toyinka Chinwosu in reaction to the Supreme Court's ruling. He also said the local government councils may be administered by civil servants.
Going to be a constitutional crisis in Rivers State because, as you can see, the nullification of that election means that the tenure of the chairman and councillors were elected on October 5th has come to an end. Now, what happens to those who to court to assert that they were still entitled to be in the office? Their tenures had come to an end even before this election was conducted. What will happen here? We are going to see a situation where for the first time there are no elected local government chairmen and councillors. We are going to see situations where just the usual local government employee will continue to perform their functions.
Dr. Biragbara said despite the Supreme Court ruling, nothing can be done about the already spent 2024 appropriation bill.
I think this judgment is more or less forward-looking. So I think the one that has been spent, I don't think much can be done about the one that has been spent. But we are now in a new budget year where the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Accountant General of the Federation, may not have released all the monies. The monies belonging to in FAC account, they are always released monthly. It is all of these that Rivers State government puts in consideration when preparing the bill to approval to spend the money. So all the monies have not been released for 2025. So there are still money spending, and this could be where the judgment will be enforced.
Also, Lagos-based political analyst Liberos Oshoma says the Supreme Court's ruling has clarified that Section 109, which deals with defection, is not self-executory. Mr. Oshoma also discussed the potential political developments in the coming days following the court's declarative judgment. In a related development, former chairman of Ikwerre local government area, Samuel Wanosike, is insisting he's still chairman of the council following today's Supreme Court judgment. Dr. Wanosike spoke shortly after the Supreme Court ruling today.
With the ruling of the Supreme Court today, and in obeying all laws of our land, I am still the chairman of the Ikwerre Local Government Council as pronounced by the Universal House of Assembly led by Martin Chikere Amewule. We want to commend our lords of the Supreme Court. Democracy is operated on the Constitution and the rule of law, and today they have done justice to those.
The former Ikwerre local government chairman spoke on if former local government chairman will resume offices at the local government secretariats.
They will give us direction because the local government law has been operated today. Our original supervisors are the Rivers State Assembly, and we wait for their directive to move further.
Dr. Wanosike also criticized a member of the House of Representatives, Ikenga Ogochinyere, for always making statements on the political crisis rocking the state.
It is clear to all of our leaders, be very careful of those that advise you. We don't understand how those who have no role to play in our state, the likes of Ogochinyere, to come and be interpreting Supreme Court rulings and Court of Appeal rulings. Today, it has been called a shenanigan and it has no place in law. The likes of Ogochinyere and his co-travelers should bury their face in shame. And to say they are anti-democrats and they have no place in our law. We congratulate every Rivers indigene, those living and doing business in Rivers State, that government was not existing before now. But from today henceforth, government has started running.
So President Tinubu signs 2025 budget into law. Stay tuned. Back. The Akbor Unity Forum says it remains steadfast in its support for Governor Siminalayi Fubara's administration despite the Supreme Court's decision on political matters in Rivers State. President General of the group, Chikodi Dike, in a statement urged members not to relent in backing the current administration, which he says has positively impacted the welfare of Rivers people, particularly the Akbor Kingdom. The statement also called on members to turn out in large numbers for the forum's monthly congress tomorrow at Rumelamini Civic Center by 7 a.m. Moving on, an appeal court sitting in Port Harcourt has overturned the judgment of a federal high court that sacked local government chairman elected under the APC in 2015. Recall that the PDP in Rivers State, following the inauguration of former Governor Nyesom Wike's administration in 2015, challenged the election that brought the 23 local government chairmen under the administration of then-Governor Chibuike Amechi. The Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Lambo Akomi, ruled in favor of the PDP, leading to the removal of the chairman. Dissatisfied with the decision, the affected chairman appealed the ruling. Delivering judgment on the matter, a three-man panel of the appeal court, led by Justice A.H. Laga Balogun, declared the judgment that sacked the chairman null and void. However, the appeal court declined to issue consequential orders on whether the 23 local government chairmen should be reinstated. Away from that, the wife of Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Ekaite, has accused the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, of telling lies against her husband. This is as Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan earlier alleged that her ordeal in the Senate started because she rejected Senator Akpabio's sexual advances. In an interview today, Mrs. Akpabio described her husband as a disciplined and responsible man who will not disrespect her and their children. She said Senator Akpabio worked with many women when he was Akwa Ibom governor, and there was no allegation of sexual harassment. In other news, President Tinubu has signed the 54.99 trillion naira 2025 appropriation bill into law, marking a 99.96% increase from the 2024 budget of 27.5 trillion naira. The brief ceremony took place at the presidential villa in Abuja. The bill, which was passed by both chambers of the National Assembly on the 13th of this month after it was adjusted upwards. Take a listen to the president.
We affirm our commitment to securing our future, rebuilding prosperity, and ensuring that every Nigerian shares in the dividends of governance. The past year tested our resolve, but through the economic discipline and strategic reforms, we achieved what many deemed impossible.
In his remarks, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the National Assembly will not hesitate to approve any policy that will improve the livelihood of Nigerians. He promised to intensify oversight functions once budgetary implementations begin.
We believe strongly that anything that can bring about and alleviate the sufferings of Nigeria, anything that you propose that can alleviate the suffering of Nigerians, be rest assured of the support of the National Assembly. We are behind you because we know that you mean well for this country.
The chairman of Defense for Human Rights and Democracy, Clifford Solomon, has called on the management of Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, to follow the example of Dangote Refinery in reducing petrol prices. His appeal comes after Dangote Refinery announced a second reduction in depot petrol prices yesterday. Speaking to our correspondent, Mr. Solomon emphasized that a move by Dangote Refinery will help ease the economic hardship faced by Nigerians and urged NNPCL to take similar action. He also commended the private refinery for consistently stepping in to support Nigerians during tough economic times. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump and his Ukraine counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky are meeting at the White House to discuss how to end the war in Ukraine. They are expected to discuss and potentially sign a deal which would give U.S. access to rare Ukrainian minerals. But Zelensky wants security guarantees to be included. The talks come a week after President Zelensky said President Trump was living in a disinformation space created by Russia, and the U.S. president accused his Ukrainian counterpart of being a dictator. On the news this evening, you heard the Rivers State government has insisted that the issue of 27 lawmakers' defection is not before the Supreme Court. FCT Minister says today's Supreme Court has ended impunity in Rivers State. An appeal court has overturned the 2015 sack of APC local government chairman in Rivers State. President Tinubu has signed the 2025 budget into law. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine president has arrived at the US for talks on mineral deals. The news was edited by Martha Okere. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.